So on the employability and professional benefits, I think one thing that cannot be underestimated is the soft skill development you get from going abroad, but I would say specifically from going to China. In my experience, the skills that we always see when we are profiling our alumni that have developed, it's adaptability, confidence, resilience, perseverance, cultural awareness. And these are all core skills that directly translate into the workplace. And I believe that when you go to a place like China, which is in some cases the 180 flip of where we are now, it's challenging. I'm sure if anyone, and many people on this call have been to China, it is challenging, but in the best possible way, in the way that allows you to grow and develop. And these are sought out skills that employers are looking for. They're looking for you to demonstrate these skills. They're going to ask you in an interview, when have you demonstrated confidence, or how have you demonstrated resilience? And I found that, from going to China, it's definitely, enhanced those skill sets. And we see that when we profile, or survey our alumni and look at the development, perseverance, resilience, confidence, always at the top of what we see have developed. And again, these are in-demand skills, so really impactful and a great experience for myself. When I was working at LinkedIn, or even now, just that confidence of, if I can go to China and not know anybody and have such an amazing experience, I can almost do anything. So when I was at work, I was the first person to put my hand up for things. I was present in meetings, talking first, feeling that there's nothing that can stop me because I've had this experience in China, a country so different to where I'm from. I know that I can thrive in any environment. And there's, of course, the language skills. And the reason why this is important is because, there's a growing body of research that highlights that employers are actually, in the UK, are actually quite dissatisfied with the level of cultural awareness and cultural agility that the graduates of today have. They're seeing that we're an increasingly globalized world, but we're not developing our young talent to match the skills or demands of the future. So language skills and the cultural agility and awareness that comes from that is extremely important when looking to develop our next generation. And I think another thing that's really important when looking at language is I can vouch completely for I think there's a certain complexity to the way you have to think to understand Mandarin, to understand the tones, the different tones for words that are ostensibly the same, but a shift in the tone can make the word completely different. And the characters, and there's a way that you have to think that develops your critical thinking, your awareness, that you become a lot more of a complex person by virtue of having learned Mandarin. And I think that is something that employers, again, are always looking for, that critical thinking, that dynamic thoughts. Uniquely, I think when you're looking at China, is something that can be developed at a kind of heightened level, and also probably quicker than if you were to, let's say, study a Latin language or Latin-based language. Looking at my own lived experience, so as I mentioned, I worked at LinkedIn, and when I was interviewing for the organization, I mentioned to my interviewer, or one of them, we have rounds of interviews, quite exhausting, but one of my it's one of my interviews, I mentioned that I am going to go to China for a number of months, and she was just, I remember just being so shocked, and not shocked, but really interested, and thinking, why China? Like, out of all the places you can go to, the US across the pond, France down the road, quite literally, you chose to go to China, and it really started this conversation that went on for a 30 or 45-minute conversation. We had 5 to 10 minutes of just talking about China, and it wasn't necessarily the fact that I was going, but it was all the things that it suggested about me. It was the courage. Key words that she mentioned was courage, brave. You're going to change and grow so much, and it's oftentimes what that suggests. It's not. A lot of the time, it's not what you're doing that's important necessarily. It's what it suggests about you. And I think at that time, when I was in my early 20s, and I was choosing to go to a place so different, so challenging, it really just highlighted certain attributes I may have that piqued her interest to make me stand out across the crowd of all the other interviews that she would have spoken to that day. And when I eventually joined the organization, that is something that she picked up on. She's like, everyone that I spoke to, no one was going to China. No one was consciously doing that. And it just stood out to me, and I got the job. So it's definitely something that I think when you're looking at, different countries across the world, there's something about places like China that really just piques people's interest. They want to learn more. Tell me more about that. The next one, personally, is around building relationships and growing my network at work. So having gone to China and lived there and developed a level of Mandarin ability, there are other people in the organization that had done the same. Not many, but others. And quite a few of them were in senior leadership roles. So they would, just even go into my LinkedIn profile, or I would connect with them and they would see on my LinkedIn profile that I have Chinese characters in my name. They thought, well, what have you got Chinese characters in your name for, Gary? Have you been to China? Oh, I've been to China too. Have you been here? Did you try this? And it really served as a interesting platform to build relationships with people that I probably wouldn't have had the opportunity to build relationships with. Something about China and just going to that country that it suggests something about you. I think there's a certain type of person that goes to China. They're a bit more inquisitive, a bit more adventurous, open to being challenged. And these are the things that employees want to see. They want to see that people can put themselves outside the comfort zone and try something differently. So just even looking at building and forming and developing a network at work, and just bringing it back into the context of social mobility, as someone who comes from a lower socioeconomic background, having this characteristic or lived experience to then help me kind of turbocharge developing my network was a really strong and impactful asset, and something I think some people underestimate. But as we're seeing that China, I wouldn't even say it's growing, it has arrived on the global stage. We're seeing more and more people want to invest in China. And if you can also come to work and say, I have experience in that place, that will help you stand out and maybe get you on interesting projects, get you noticed by people that are looking to enter that region. It's something that I found was really useful in my personal experience when not just getting in to work, which was the interview, but getting on once I was actually in there.